Larry with us today, our chaplain of Siena College, to just share and help us stay connected and really rely on our faith during this challenging time. So Father Larry, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Hello, everybody. It's good to have you. It's good to be with you in this virtual reality that we find ourselves in. It was funny, yesterday, I think I was on Zoom for 8 hours throughout the day with different groups. And one of the groups I was with was the seniors. It was Theology on Tap. So we had our beverage of choice, and we connected and, just kind of shared what's going on in our lives. And the question that I asked them, I wanted to use the 7 last words of Christ, and where they were at and which one did they connect with. And it was really interesting, the discussion that led to it. I thought it might be a good thing for us to kind of look at the 7 last words of Christ and how we may be in a few of those, we may be feeling similar things. So last week on the video, You're Not Alone, I concentrated on, my God, why have you forsaken me? And we find that in Matthew and Mark. And I think that's one that we can all connect with. But there's others. Into your hands I commend my spirit. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. Mother, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. I thirst. Today you will be with me in paradise, and it is finished. So just a reflection on each one of them. I'll start with, my God, why have you forsaken me? And I think this is the one that a lot of us connect with in the sense of feeling anguish, feeling abandonment, feeling anger at this time of this uncharted territories, that a lot of us are feeling this, feeling frustrated, I think. And this is one of Jesus's most human points on the cross. And I think we can take great solace knowing that if Jesus questioned God, that at times we can too. And of course, Jesus knew the scriptures, and he's quoting from the Psalms. And we know at that end of the Psalm that there is hope. And we know that there is going to be hope at the end of this. But we do at times feel anguish. And when we feel this, we know that Jesus can connect with us. He knows what it's like to feel abandoned. He knows what it's like to feel anguish. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. I often concentrate on the first part, Father, forgive them, which most of us do. But today I want to kind of look at they don't know what they do. It's more of an empathy. Jesus is recognizing the other as not fully understanding what they're doing. And I think for us to understand those outside of us, to have sympathy for others. I thought one of the most interesting points that some of the kids made yesterday, the seniors, was that, yeah, we're going through a difficult time, but there's a lot of people going through a lot worse things than we're going through right now. There's people who are between life and death right now. There are people who are in the hospitals, caregivers, that are sacrificing their lives for the health of others. So I thought that was a good insight to go outside of our own struggles. It's not easy for any of us right now, but there are some people that are really struggling, and to be in solidarity with them in prayer and in thought, I think is important. Mother, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. So this is where Jesus is on the cross, and below him are the beloved disciple John and his mother. And he's two people who he loves very much, making sure that they're taking care of one another. And I think for me, this is the one that I really connected with most. My parents are elderly. My mom's on dialysis. She goes into dialysis 3 times a week. My dad is a caregiver. He's 83, in pretty good health, but he's their number one caregiver. So I check in every day. They live by themselves, and just making sure that they're okay. They haven't had anybody in the house for 2 weeks. except their dog. But they haven't had my nieces and nephews who they love being grandparents, and it's very hard for them not to be able to see their grandchildren at this time. So I think it's important to check in with those who are most vulnerable, those who are maybe older and maybe the immune system maybe is a little compromised at this time. I thirst. I think all of us can relate to this. We're thirsting for purpose and meaning in our lives, and a lot of times we find that meaning in our work. And for a lot of people right now, they're without work. We find it in relationships, and sometimes because of where we're at right now, those relationships are either strained or it's difficult to be with those people we are in relationship with. So to find meaning and purpose and just meaning in what is this, why this illness, and why are there people suffering, and why do people have to suffer? There's a lot of restlessness right now. And St. Augustine said our hearts are restless until they rest in God, and to maybe use this time this thirsting that we have to strengthen our relationship with God in prayer, which kind of leads to the whole idea of surrendering to God. Into your hands I commend my spirit. The whole idea is that there are certain things we have control of in life, and there's certain things we don't have control of in life. And to be able to recognize that and to appreciate that I'm a human being and I'm not God. Thank God I'm not God. And God is God, and I'll let God be God. And I'm going to be a human being who has strengths and who has weaknesses. And to be able to surrender to God. Your will be done. Every time we pray the Our Father, we pray, your will be done. To be able to surrender to God's will at this time. Today you will be with me in paradise. So the context for this last word comes from Jesus in between the two thieves. And the one says, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus replies, today you will be with me in paradise. So where do we find paradise? Where do we find light in the darkness? I've been told that now in China and Wuhan, they can see blue sky for the first time in years. I've been told that in Venice that there are dolphins going through the canals that hasn't been seen in years, that there is beauty returning in the midst of suffering and pain. I always found it interesting, with St. Francis, he was able to, if anyone's ever been to Umbria in Italy, it's one of the most beautiful areas in the world. And it's understandable how Francis was able to see beauty, the beauty of God there. But he was also able to see beauty in the leper. In the ugliness of illness and pain, he was able to see the suffering Christ and to embrace the leper. And he tells the story when he embraces the leper, that which was bitter became sweet. He was able to see Jesus there. And I don't know how many people saw the Mass that we streamed last Sunday, but I told the story when I was walking through, it was a high point in New Jersey, I believe, close to the Delaware River. And it was Easter week, and I was trying to come up with an idea for Holy Week for Easter Sunday Mass. And I was praying to God, and at that moment, I came across this rocky cliff, and someone had spray painted a phrase, "Don't be afraid of the shadows. It only means the light is nearby." Don't be afraid of the shadows. It only means the light is nearby. And the sense that, that we are in the shadows, but we must never lose hope or give in to despair, because there is paradise. There is heaven. That's the Paschal mystery. There is new life. And I was saying before everyone got on that my hope is a beautiful day here in Albany. I know what it's like where you are, but I'm thinking about getting up to Lake George and getting into a kayak this afternoon to appreciate the quiet and the beauty up at Lake George. And then finally, it is finished. And I asked this was the last question I asked to the kids on Theology and Tap yesterday. What is it that once this is over and we move from this, whenever that is going to be, what is it that you're going to appreciate? What is it that you have missed the most? And it was interesting. A lot of them, obviously, to be able to say goodbye to friends. Sports was a huge one with a lot of them. But a lot of them said human contact, touch. And I can relate to that. I haven't shaken someone's hand in maybe 10 days, embraced anybody in that amount of time as well. I miss that. I miss not putting my hands on someone's shoulder. I miss human contact in that sense. I mean, this is great, the visual, but there is something about being able to feel an embrace and to embrace another. So those are just some reflections that I came up with the 7 last words. And I'd be open to, if anyone has any thoughts, reflections of their own, any questions for me to feel free at this time.
So I guess because we've got a really reasonable number of people to manage it. If you have a question or a comment for Father Larry, you could either unmute yourself and speak, or you could type it in the chat.
I'd like to, excuse me, just to kind of put something forward. I mean, because everybody's going through their own kinds of uncertainty now. It just kind of helps to focus on the good things you may have taken for granted before, because then friends, things you like to do, because then you realize that you can kind of find light in different places. If you just kind of if you kind of thought about it in the past and not really given it much thought, this is a way to kind of reflect on some of the good things that you have.
Definitely. Thanks, Connor. Yeah, I went for a walk this morning. First of all, I'm really appreciative because I've had some knee issues, and I was actually scheduled for knee surgery, knee replacement next Thursday, April 2nd. But thankfully, the last 4 days, the knee has improved tremendously. So I can walk. It used to be I couldn't walk from the friary to the dining hall without pain. But now I've been walking around campus without pain. So that's great. So this morning when I was walking across the bridge to Snyder and then over towards the townhouses, just the sounds, the birds are coming back, just the feeling of the sun on my face. Just, I guess, with things slow down, it's very quiet here. It's just basically the friars and public safety and some facilities people. Just listening to the environment around me, slowing down and appreciating that.
So Father Larry, you're going to continue masses on Sunday, correct? Through Facebook Live at 11.
It'll be a new Facebook page. It'll be the Friary Facebook page that Andy Murphy, who's on, helped set up. So it won't be the college's Facebook, but it'll be the same. And it'll be at 11 o'clock on Sunday.
So I have a question for you, Father Larry. Hearing you, and you're there for so many of us in the Siena community, and you've offered that support to the alumni and friends too. So 8 hours of being on Zoom is a lot. That's a lot of you to give. So what can we do for you, or what do you do to kind of keep yourself boosted up?
Yeah, for me, it's just being outdoors, getting out, whether it's hiking or kayaking. Just going to the grotto. I get to the grotto every day and light some candles and pray. What I need from everybody is prayer. We all need prayers. So if you could pray for me and the rest of the friars, we appreciate that. Yeah, I got, and it's getting notes from the students is amazing. I've gotten a few notes from them, and I really appreciate that. And I'm trying to reach out to as many people as possible. I think this has helped me to kind of sometimes we take people for granted, and I think this has allowed us to really try to appreciate others more.